Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach. Today, I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. It's a Monday. We're ready to go. Mondays are a great day to step back, get organized, and really get after it. You know, we like to get everything kind of structured properly. Remember, if you're with me, the ILD, Final Financial Friday, is this Friday. So we just want to make sure we mark our calendars. It's in your planner. They're going to double check your finances as we come into July. Can you believe it's July? I love July. It's just kind of blowing me away, but it's pretty crazy. And I'm running my 5K. I'm excited to do that and see if I can break my personal best. It's going to be interesting next week. I think I can do it, but we'll see. Let's get out there and make it happen. All right, so just remember on Friday. We got a great week for you planned, but before we do, just remember metaphysical morning ritual. What do we need to do? Take time for self-care. You know, I say that every day and almost every day, right? It's like just burn that into your brain. Listen to the CoachCast. You made it. You're here. That's important. Plan your day with the 7 Ps. What are those? Have the right perspective, set the right priorities, focus on improved performance. Always have patience with the things you're doing. Have great posture. Get those shoulders back. Stay present, and persist so we can go after it and just keep going after it. All right? So we've got that. Once the 7 Ps are done, you can use the planner. If you're working with the companion with us, take a picture, send it in. These are just extra things you can do. And then obviously stop by the community for accountability, questions, and support. And by the way, stopping by the community has gotten so much easier if you update the Morning Coach app. There's some amazing things going on in our mobile applications. We're really making this work so that when you have your phone with you or your tablet, you're able to log in and do a lot of the work that we're bringing to you. So I got some huge announcements coming. Check your email because I send a lot of that email, or I will actually put it up in the community. For those of you doing the metaphysical group, you're in there a little bit more, but you'll find that the new app is getting better and better and better. And that's important for us to connect, okay? It really is. So that's really critical. As far as this week, let's continue on. Today, we're going to talk about being the expert. This is one of my favorite topics. We're all experts at something. Can we monetize that expertise? Can it equal freedom? And yes, it can. And we're going to go through that big time this week. Tomorrow's our book study. We're ending human design, and we're going to have some fun with that. And we're going to really go over some of the book and some of the ideas with human design as we finalize that. That was just an interesting book that I wanted to grab because I've been hearing so much about human design. And again, we could talk in the community a little bit about your experiences so far. Wednesday, I got a good one. What is the halo effect? We're going to talk about the halo effect. Again, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about. If you're new with me, you probably haven't heard this before, or maybe you have. But it's going to be a really good day of understanding how, when we build our expertise and some of the things we're going to talk about this week, that it creates this effect around others. And it's a very powerful thing. So we'll be doing that. And then Thursday is Ask a JB. And we're going to talk about how do I know if I can make money? And that's a big one that a lot of people ask. And we're going to talk a lot about that. You know, how do I know if I can make money? We're going to talk about proof of concept, some other ideas. So make sure you tune in. Thursday, Friday, we've got making money with your expertise. So yes, we're going to talk about making money a little bit more in detail and some ideas. And again, that is Final Financial Friday. So those of you that are doing the ILD spreadsheet, that is the day to do it. Or you can pick a day this week, but just make sure you understand, do you have a deficit going into July, or how are things working? With that. Saturday, Dr. Paul has been doing a wonderful job bringing us some health ideas and thoughts. We're going to be doing that. And then, of course, Sunday, we're going to talk about being the spiritual leader, being the spiritual expert. What does that even mean? Well, tune in Sunday because we're going to have some fun with that. So excited to talk about expertise. You know, ILD, the Foundation in Intelligent Life Design, was really founded on taking a body of knowledge and expertise and then turning it into a lifestyle, designing your life around intellect and around the way that your expertise has been created, and then being able to go out and monetize. And it's basically what I did. When I started Morning Coach years ago, you know, nobody really listened. I had this body of knowledge that I thought I knew from years and years of study. Obviously now, after doing this 19 years, my body of knowledge is much better. We've been able to build systems and structure and write books. But when I started, that wasn't all there. I was like a white belt in personal development, but I knew enough and had enough energy to start putting it out there. And that expertise is what led me to build. And it started off by speaking. A lot of people don't know that, but the original intent was for me to go out and speak. Had nothing to do with Morning Coach. I'd followed Zig Ziglar and Les Brown and Tony Robbins. I said, I'm going to go out and be a speaker. I don't have a problem in front of the stage or being on stage. I actually enjoy it. I've always done real well in my speaking for classes. Some people hate it. I actually loved it. In fact, when I was doing my MBA, my Master's of Business Administration, we had groups. And this was back when University of Phoenix actually had a college, which they still do, but they became the biggest online university back when I was going, before they even went online. And I was at the Tucson campus. And we used to have, we would go Wednesday evening from like 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And then we would do like Saturday from 8 a.m. till 6. Like it's these really long hours. And in there, they would always have, you do presentations with groups. And with the groups, I was always the speaker. Like I was always, they would go do all the work and then say, hey, you become the speaker. So it was just something natural that came to me. I've never had an issue getting in front of crowds. It's not that I want to be around people. I don't enjoy that. But as far as getting up in front of people, I've never had an issue with that. In fact, I think back to high school, in junior high, maybe it was high school, I can't remember, but I was pretty young and I was like the sophomore class president, and I grabbed the microphone from the principal. They were having this teachers versus the students game, and the principal said, 2-bit, 4-bit, 6 bits a dollar, all for the teachers, stand up and holler, and everybody's going, boo, boo, and I ran out and grabbed the microphone and got 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits a dollar, all for the students, stand up and holler, and everybody went nuts. And I think from that day, I don't have a problem being in front of people and speaking. So I was going to be a speaker, but in order to be a speaker, this is a secret in that business for some of you that are trying to build that business, is companies will hire experts. They don't hire speakers. Now, let me preface that because they do hire speakers, but typically it's a famous speaker. Like a big one that I did was Affiliate Summit. They had the Redskins quarterback, Joe Theismann. Nice guy. Met him. He was opening the event. And then I was closing it. Well, Joe Theismann, when he speaks, he doesn't have to be an expert. He just talks about the stuff that he did, his Super Bowls and John Riggins. And for those of you who don't know, Washington Redskins was a team. They changed the name. But when I grew up as a Washington Redskins, he was a quarterback, won some Super Bowls. And so he just got up there and talked about that. Everybody was just kind of, wow, Then I had to close the thing. But when I closed it, people don't know who I am. They don't know what kind of speaker I am. I have to have stories, but practicality and things that people can do. That's how I was able to build that business, because I became an expert, right? So being the expert is what people will hire. They won't hire speakers or just general speakers. They will hire famous people to come in. But if you're an expert, then you can make money. Okay. And especially in the speaking world, that's what they're looking for. Somebody can come in and move the needle with their people. And in the speaking business, obviously there's some talent. You got to be able to, hold an audience. There's some parts of being the speaker that are really a challenge. And one of the things that's challenging is as you get into the business more and more, and I was in the National Speaker Association, I used to go to those events all the time, and they would have me speak at those events, is when you're in like that group, it's a very narcissistic group. I try not to be narcissistic. We've talked about that. We talked about it last week. But you got to have a little bit of an ego to get on stage in front of 10,000 people, right? You have to. You at least have to feel comfortable. For me, it's just natural. I don't know where it came from, but it just channels through, and I've never had an issue. I don't do a lot of preparation. I've never, tried to structure and then memorize. I just get up and go. Give me the points. Give me what I want to talk about. So it's a skill. It's a gift, right? And I always say, when talent is there, and then you enhance the skills and enhance the talents, that's genius. And so I've been able to do that. Now, I didn't want to do that for a career, because as I started doing it, I realized I had to travel and go. It just wasn't my thing. I did a ton of speaking, but it really wasn't my thing. But what I did learn from that whole process was I need to be the expert. I have to have a body of knowledge, because nobody knows who I am. Now, I've got a little bit of it with Morning Coach because the podcast was so big back in the days. There's some people do know who I am. They say, hey, let's have the Morning Coach come in. But really, it's more about the expertise of the body of knowledge that I have. So how do we do that? How do we get that knowledge so we know what we can build our monetization on? And again, you don't have to be a speaker. Let me just put that out there. But I will tell you this, that speaking is one of the fastest ways to really gain expertise and grow a business. Another way you can do it is to write a book. I just ordered David's book, David Comer. He's a Morning Coach member, general. He's awesome. Conquer Your Culture. You're looking for a book to read for your organization. That's a great one to grab, and then leave a review. I always suggest that from other Morning Coach members. We'll put a link up in the community if David can. But again, writing the book establishes expertise, more so in the past than it does today, because Amazon has kind of changed that game. But it's still, you've written the book, right? So you're still somebody that develops expertise. So if you have an interest, and I've always said this, write the book for yourself. I'm writing a book called Sober Weekends right now. Why? Because the weekends are when I get in trouble, and I know other people do. So I'm writing a book for myself, but so many other people will want that book. Right? So learn to write books. It's a way to establish expertise. It still is a credible way. Speaking is a credible way. When you're on stage, people see you as the expert. And I'm going to talk about halo effect on Wednesday. You don't want to miss that. But we want to identify some major interests that you have. Okay? That's the step one in ILD. It's like, what interests you? What are you passionate about? What are you excited about? That's what gets us. And then as we establish these interests, for example, golf became an interest of mine. Then it's like, okay, what is a task that we can do? What can we do one thing at a time to become the expert in that area? So I was never an expert in golf, but now I can speak the language. I can tell you what a cut is. I can tell you a fade, a slice, the language I can tell you, eagle, birdie, the language that somebody that doesn't play golf would never speak that. But I can speak that because I'm an expert so much so that I coach professional golfers, not in the game of golf. But my expertise in getting people into form and making sure they're structured properly and they have the right systems in place really plays well with golf. And so it works for me to be a part of the team and bring that energy. Okay, so you just focus on one task, whatever it is. You say, JB, I have these interests, and okay, fishing. Okay, well, how do you learn about fishing? The bait caster, the open face. I fished years ago. I haven't fished in 30 years, but I know there's a bait caster and an open face. And I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole in all this, but you focus on one task and you get really good at it. Okay, so for golf, what I got really good at was not really the mental aspect, but the prep that goes into it, because I already knew that. So focus on one task at a time. Think of it as like you're a white belt, like in our system. You're going to learn the basics of something and then move to the other belts accordingly. So getting that white belt is the first step, and there's a few tasks that you have to do in there. So we want to keep it simple and really just be task-oriented and move one thing at a time. And then as you're doing it, you invest time and effort into your interest. You start to really understand it. Let's say you like models. I met a guy when I spoke, I was mentioning about him. He owns a hobby shop, and he really likes RC cars and models, and they sell a lot. He knows everything about that, right? Because it's an interest of his. Then he invests in it, and now he's invested in it so much that he has stores and he sells. And it's really interesting to follow somebody like that. So invest time and effort into your interest. And that's gonna help you then take the next step, which is to practice what you preach. You don't want to be somebody that tells people what to do. You want to show them what to do. In fact, in our writing, and my old writing coach says you show, you don't tell. Well, same thing in life. You go out there and show somebody that you're the expert. You know, when I was studying with Jeff Walker marketing, we used to talk about long content versus short content. And I'd be like, man, who reads that long content? Or who will watch a video? It's hours and hours long. And Jeff used to say, the person that's going to buy. And there's a lot of truth to that, because it shows your expertise if you're able to speak for a long time, or you're able to have a discussion about a particular topic. That solidifies expertise. So in Jeff's world, when he used to do product launch formula, he used to have these long videos, because if you would do that without really editing and just be there or do a webinar, it elicits that expertise. People know you're the expert, okay? But you need to live it. Practice what you preach. I'm a big fan of saying, hey, when you get to know me, watch what I do, because the things that I teach are the things that I do. I say, I don't want to, experiment with your time and money. Every once in a while I'll say, hey, like human design, it's something I'm not an expert in, but I'm bringing it to the table. But most of the things that I bring to the table are things that I'm doing. Okay, so practice what you preach. Then we want to get deep in the subject. The subject matter. The deeper you get, the more expertise you have. We want to not just know it on the surface level. We want to understand it. So again, think of the martial arts example. You start at white belt, you go to yellow belt, you go to green belt, you go to blue belt, you go to red belt, you go to brown belt, you go to black belt. Very similar. As you get deeper and deeper, you continually can move forward and you can pull people along the way as you grow. And that's a really critical thing. Now, I just want to make a note here as we get our week started that there's this 10,000 hour thing that Malcolm Gladwell used to say that, hey, in order to get, be an expert, you need to do something for 10,000 hours. I am not going to discredit that at all, because if you do something for 10,000 hours, obviously you're getting to be an expert. But I'm going to say I think you can do it before then, depending on what the thing is or what your interest is. But it is, hey, it's a good idea to think that, hey, I'm going to do this for 10,000 hours because it is something I love and something I'm interested in. So I want to work this week on being the expert. I want you to be thinking about your expertise and how you can bring it out there. And then we're going to start talking about monetization of it a little bit. But I want you to think about stuff that you would never retire from and find some of those interests, because it's such a great way to wake up in the morning and know that you're building something that's going to last for you forever. And I hate to say forever because I'm, who knows, but at the end of the day, you're still loving it. Like golf, which I picked up, like, becoming a pilot, which I picked up, reading and educating, writing the new fictional stuff that I've been working on for years. These are things that I enjoy. Things I'll never, ever give up, at least at this point. Maybe I'll set them aside, but I'm going to be doing them forever, and they're all making money. So let's get into this. I hope that interests you, because it is a lot of fun for me, and I love teaching it. It's what I've helped thousands of people around the world do, become more of an expert. Let's get into the depth of that this week, okay? So lots of love to you. Get out there and have a great start of the week. Make sure you get organized. Do your metaphysical morning ritual. Make sure you're doing that. And make sure you're taking time for self-care. That's really critical. And we're going to keep rocking and rolling it right here at MorningCoach.com. And if you get a chance, stop by the community. We'd love to see you in there. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow right here, or in the community if you're over there, right here at MorningCoach.com. Lots of love to you.